I'm Chris.
And we are GeekChic promotion. A serious conversation today. So let's start off by drinking. That's necessary. We are drinking our favorite Chrisky yet again. Thank you, madame.
You're welcome.
Here's to you guys. All right, so this is an issue that we always talk about outside of Nerd Rage, and it's a very important issue. We felt for a while that we didn't want to get too tied up with it, but we believe it's time, especially with everything that's happening this week. Hey, Brandon, good to see you, buddy. So we're going to share this around a bit, and then we're going to jump into Comicsgate and everything that entails. And a lot of you probably don't know what that is about because it's fairly internal, but it's been bleeding out a lot more in the last week or so. I'm just gonna adjust this camera over here. There we go. Hey guys.
Yeah, right, so it's something that started with video games, which was Gamergate, which you know it basically it's the same thing. It's just in a different industry. So is that what's termed as SJWs, which is social justice warriors, which basically includes anybody who has a job due to satisfying diversity, basically women, black people, gays, trans, like anybody that doesn't fit white male.
Yeah, so anybody but that.
They don't deserve to have jobs in the industry because they're diversity hires, making the company talented and yada, yada, yada. And anybody who speaks up for these groups are called SJWs. So let's just get that terminology out of the way.
We're going to throw a lot of terminology. If you have any comments or anything like that, please comment below and we'll continue the conversation.
And so there was a lot of controversy at first that Comicsgate wasn't really a thing. And it started like a year ago, like the history of this. You can find it online. There's plenty of articles about it. But it started about a year ago with the milkshake photo. The milkshake photo was basically celebrating Flo's favorite things to do was have a milkshake. And so a bunch of women editors got together and they had a milkshake in her honor and took a picture of it. And
like a very nice
innocuous.
Yeah.
It wasn't work related. It was just coworkers getting together and having a good time. And it started a shitstorm, basically, is what happened. And a certain group of people took it to be kind of like a call to arms on what was wrong with the comic book industry and just started wailing on the women who were in the picture as being unattractive, as not being able to do their job, not being able to, and a lot of women getting targeted for really no reason, because they were upset with some of the content that was in some of their comics, and of course blame the editors. So and then it kind of bled out and started including artists and writers and everybody else. And after a while, if you were a person who stood up for these poor unfortunate SJWs, you were put on a list, and this list was circulated in ranks of these people, and then you were harassed online. You were harassed and you were constantly ridiculed. You were made fun of your appearance, anything you could possibly think of, and it's just become a big mess. And so the reason why we are discussing it this week and haven't previously is because there's been this debate. And I belong to a lot of women groups, you know, in the industry. And so I get to see firsthand how it's affecting others and how they are now scared to go to conventions because they're harassed, or it's worth it to become a visible target to people, or they feel like, you know what, I'm just going to do my job and stay out of this. But we've been trying to stay away from.
And this, even though this is in our industry, this is included in the political issue, and especially us being two women and all that kind of fun stuff. Like,
really, we just want to be judged on our talent and not really, or what industry. We just kind of want to be.
We just want to be
judged
nerdy
for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that so wrong?
Yeah.
And a lot of. And it came to a head this week with Marsha Darwin Cook's late wife, or not late wife, He's late. She's still alive. She's his widow. And so apparently, those of us who are in know some of this stuff, comics, Richard Myers, and also Ethan Van Sciver, and there's like a lot of like alt-right comics creators who.
Sorry guys, if I'm really quiet, I'm just like there's
we're
a lot of
name
rage.
Names.
We're just bubbling up, and
Yes.
thank you for everybody watching. Hi Martin, hi Brandon, also on our YouTube. Hi Solid Jeffro, good to see you, bro. Sorry, we're getting really because we've kind of reached our
it's
point
reached a point
and
where
can't handle anymore.
Can't stay quiet any longer because it's affecting people we know and people we really love. And as someone who was like a big fan of Darwin Cook's, you know, and helped put together a tribute to him.
For those who don't know Darwin Cook,
yes, he was a very prominent comics book artist who passed away of cancer, I believe, about less than a year ago, actually. Was it a year ago?
I think it's a little over a year.
A little over a year?
Yeah.
No, 2 years probably.
2 years.
Because like we did the tribute at Long Beach.
We did, yeah. So it's like a couple years ago.
It's been a couple years. But anyway, so apparently that whole group who was against WWs and everything put together a video that pretty much insinuated that Darwin Cook would have supported their mission had he still been alive. And
that mission being for those people that just joined to be against any
old
people,
school.
people, even the people writing, drawing, or YouTubers were trying to reconnect.
Yeah. But anyway, so they took a whole bunch of stuff and they made a little video. Essentially, his widow, and she came out on Twitter and she addressed everyone and she said, "Nope, this isn't cool. He never would have supported you. He would have wanted you to get the fuck out and thinks you're all assholes." Of course, in true typical fashion, they attacked her and they went after her.
As internet people do.
Yeah. So I see this kind of thing, and Marsha is in a unique position, which I kind of envy her for. Not envy her in the way of like she's getting all this bullshit, but they don't want to make waves. They just want to do their job. But Marsha she's not in the industry as a professional. She's the widow of someone who was, so she knows him best. So she can speak for him more than anybody else can speak for him. And she also doesn't have to worry about losing her job or getting penalized for something at the publisher she works at for making waves or being like a nuisance or causing some kind of thing. And she even said, for those of you who think that that I need help with standing up to these people, I don't need help. I don't need help.
Which is
like
she is the most superhero of anyone in this situation.
And I think it got me like right after she did all that, and I went down that rabbit hole of all the Twitter threads. And then Bill Sienkiewicz posted his open letter, which basically denounced everybody, like diversity in comics and the whole Comicsgate, rally movement and everything else. And that open letter was like super awesome and harsh.
It's amazing. Can you actually comment with the link so that people can see it on the Facebook, or you can send it to me and I can do it?
Yes.
But it's great seeing people kind of finally come together, and that's why we really wanted to talk about it this week, because there's issues where so these alt-right creators basically comic book. And how much did they asked for like $5,000 and got how much?
I don't know. They got like something like $300,000 to $500,000.
That's so much money. And then versus on our side, they're like, hey, we're going to raise money to do this very diverse, very celebratory comic, and they asked for $500 and they only got $5,000.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that we're in a world right now that is fine to support and push forward the awful, like, hateful type stuff versus on the other side, we're just not getting the support that we need. But it's because we're afraid of them. I mean, we even talked about it ourselves that we didn't want to bring this up on any of our live streams or really talk about it in this forum because we felt like it was just a little like bit much. And again, we wanted to be known for you know, being women going on. So so Chris did on our Facebook page did just add, and I'll add it to our.
I posted 2 links. I posted one a bit in what's happening, what Comicsgate is, and then I also posted Jeff Lemire and Bill Sienkiewicz's denouncement of Comicsgate.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I'm posting that as well on our YouTube for all people, so that you can kind of see what we're talking about as well, because we could just read it verbatim, because especially the letter is pretty perfection, honestly.
Great. Yeah. And here's the thing, like, and one of the things that made this a really easy decision for me to make this week is because I saw a lot of people saying like, first of all, there's a lot of hiding going on of like, hey, maybe if we just ignore this, they'll go away because they won't have any juice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they won't have anything to like grab onto and make fun of.
Yep.
So let's just like hide away and like not stir the pot. And that's not working because they have a much more vocal group than our side. We're actually, it's not doing anything. It's just, it's not going away. It's just not working. And when I see all of this happening, and I think to myself, well, I mean, we're in events. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm not in the industry any longer. I'm no longer an editor, which God am I glad because Jesus. But
Oh
also,
my God,
I'm,
yeah, they would be coming after you hard.
hardcore. I mean,
Oh.
I've edited 250 comics like in the industry. I'm so glad that I'm not currently on anything that
Which
is
that's
like,
so sad to say.
It's very sad.
Something that she loved to
It's very
do.
sad.
Like that was something that she worked really hard to aspire to do, and to be in the comic book industry that we love. Happy she's not in
Yes.
it, coming after her and attacking her.
This is some bullshit.
That's crazy.
And I see a lot of that same sentiment like in a lot of the groups I'm in. But today I was just like, you know what, I'm not like, yeah, like I've got a Twitter account and I've got, you know, I don't know, a little over 1,000 followers. So if people decide to harass me on Twitter, it's gonna be empty. Because I don't go
Good
on
luck.
it and I barely check it. So, you know, good luck riling me up.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna bait me into I have the ability to block.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't have a career to lose in the industry at this point. Like the things I edit, I do for fun. So I just don't need like to worry about that sort of thing.
Yeah, because you're not
So-
connected to a specific
Right.
like publisher or anything like that. So you're just like, "Bye, I edited it, but I'm gonna disappear
Yes,
into
and-
the ether."
So I feel like now is the time for us to really talk about how we feel about it, which, you know, obviously is, you know, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's going to happen, really. I don't think we're big enough for anything to happen yet, but
For,
whatever.
if anything, I'm glad for us to talk to you guys, because I'm sure like some of you guys on my feed and on the GeekChic feed don't know about this, because like maybe you kind of hear some words about it but don't really like
Yeah.
know it. But like so, and it's on a lighter note, something that Brandon just brought up that I feel all the time, because I've been a huge comic book nerd, but I've only read names. Like I've never met these people or like anything like that, and we like now working with you who's like met people and worked with them directly. Brandon says he's been mispronouncing his name this whole time.
Bill
But
Sienkiewicz's.
yeah, and that's so long for people like me versus like somebody like you who's actually in the industry and like are really close friends with some of these creators, some of these artists, and these people that it's really affecting.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
to talk about. We're probably going to go over today, guys.
Yeah.
Just to warn you ahead of time.
it takes like, and honestly, us talking about this does nothing. Like we're according to Diversity Comics and all of the comics. We're part of the problem. Yeah, we're
with our
part of
lady
it.
parts and stuff.
Yeah, I know. How dare we?
How dare we try to like nerd stuff and be a part of the industry?
I know, but I feel like if we don't speak up, then it kind of means that we're just letting it. We're going along with it.
We're part of the problem.
And I don't really feel like we can do that any longer.
Yeah.
So I feel like at this point we need to kind of rally, and everybody who supports comics, you know, especially if you're like white dudes, to be honest, like we need the white dude support.
we white dudes, we need your help. Calling all white dudes.
Yeah, we need you guys to like support. You know, this whole like we need to push this out.
Yes,
because
and we need to educate everybody about this, because I think a lot of the problem might be is that people that are on our side just don't know that this is happening.
Yes. And I also, guys, I took a deep dive into this, and this is what we're going to get to, because it's a rabbit hole, okay? So when I was looking at all this, I've been aware of this time, but there were some phrases that I was like, I don't know what that means.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Okay.
So
she just described one of the phrases to me, and I have a whole,
I'm gonna
drink some whiskey while you describe it.
It is a rabbit hole, guys, okay, which normally I don't
surprised
do.
that you're back. Like,
I
that's,
know,
that can get deep. That's a deep dive.
There's a whole subculture of white nerds, not the friendly kind of incels, okay? And for those who don't know what an incel is, they're involuntary.
Please, Chris, tell us what incel stands for, because this I had no idea. Because when she first mentioned it, I was like, that sounds like a militia term, right?
Yeah.
Like a revolution, like
Sort of
army
is.
term, right?
It kind of is.
Yeah. So go on.
yeah,
Say
so
what it actually stands for.
It stands for involuntary celibates, okay, incels. So basically it's white nerds who can't get laid, who are angry at the world because they can't get laid. And this sounds funny.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Like this, but it's not funny.
I know,
because
sorry. It's out of control.
These people are dangerous because they are misogynistic. They have the potential to become rapists, murderers. They feel like the world owes them something because they're not getting what they feel they deserve, which is sex with women. And it's it goes so deep as to be like they're almost cultish, and also what are they called? Like cells, like essentially, where they group together and they get to know each other.
They feed off of their
each
energy and their rage, and they're like,
Yes.
yeah, we're right, because we hate women and anybody of any ethnic difference.
Well, they're just
than us.
mad. They're mad they're not getting laid, guys. Like that's essentially what this comes down to, and they're really fucking pissed. And like, I'll be honest, like these people, they hold high positions of power. They're not just like these people in their mom's basement.
Yeah, who was it?
typing
You
on
said
it.
there was like a follower of one of the lead people in this issue. It was somebody who worked on a comic book that we know, and then Paul Jenkins knocked him down a peg.
Oh, that was Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah.
Who also has, he does this kind of flip-floppy thing where he's just like, yeah, hey, like I don't support this, but yet they're all my followers, and I actually like them all, and I'm gonna support them, but not really.
Yeah. Solid Jeffro was like, rapist, damn.
Yeah.
And this is why we are, if you actually read some of their stuff, we're not just labeling them. They actually said stuff of forcibly taking
What
sex.
they believe to be theirs.
Yes.
Mhm.
They we don't throw around words lightly. Like we are actually using terms that's crazy, and it's not just 5 or 6 angry nerds.
No,
it's not.
It's a huge movement,
It's
guys.
crazy to me as a nerd, and like as people who love this type of thing, superheroes. It's supposed to be for good.
Yeah, well, they
And
feel
yet-
like the world is changing. They feel like it's going in this different direction where nothing's fun anymore because they see like Luke Cage pushing around their baby carriage, and they're like, oh, now he's his father. Like, and they're mad about that.
Like, why are you
Like, they're mad.
Why are you mad?
Yes,
Oh God.
Yeah.
And it's just
all of it. It's so messed up. And so this is why I feel like the problem's not getting better. And I don't know what can be done about it besides saying like we don't support it. But
so as we said earlier, we don't throw words around lightly, and RCA Films makes a terrorist. The Toronto van attack guy was an incel of this, like,
oh wow,
a part of this. So
Yeah.
It's so deeply
very
upsetting
frustrating.
and so
like
frustrating.
here it is. Like the thing with Luke Cage is like, and that's an actual example, by the way. Like
Yeah,
that's
we're,
from diversity
again,
in comics.
we're actually bringing
like,
up specific
yes,
points that they brought up.
that
We're
they
not
brought
making
up.
stuff
I'm not
up.
making that up. They really got angry that Luke Cage like was pushing a baby carriage and acting like a sissy. Like that's the kind of things they get upset about. They're like, why can't he just be a man? They're men.
That
like
is
that.
a man.
Like,
Being
what
a
is
father
that?
is
What
a
are-
man
like,
thing
what
to
is
do.
that? Like,
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
also, like, what? Just and here's like I feel like it's taking a form of entertainment way too freaking seriously.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That I do want to touch on that specific thing, and also Eric brings up a really good point. It takes one toxic person to ruin something fun. What's scary about this movement, it takes one toxic person to be like, "Blah, blah, blah," and they all flip and join in, and they all just start this crazy
powered by
like,
anger.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's powered by anger.
And to go back to what you just said of like, it's comic books. Like, what are you? And again, this is very, like we've discussed on length, this is why we have the show, is that we're very passionate about comic books.
And we can get angry about stuff. We can get mad that something's not done right. We can get mad that a movie sucks, and that Justice League was bad.
I'm fine with getting angry. So here's an example. Like specifically, we were talking about earlier that the new Iron Man is a black girl, a 16-year-old girl from MIT, right?
Right.
So I would get if you're like the writing is bad, it doesn't make sense that I want it to be more organic or something like that. Fine. Like I kind of get.
If it wasn't done well, it wasn't done well.
It wasn't done well.
I can agree with that. But
if you're just angry because it's a black girl, get the fuck out of my house.
Yes.
Like, get out. I can't.
And this is like one of the things that like also kind of spurred it on was the fact that what's her face was driven off Twitter because she was named
the girl who played Rose in Star Wars.
Yes. No, not Kelly Tran. I'm talking about what's her name who was.
I know too many people that have like.
I know.
Rose.
Rose.
We were just talking about last week. We're so nerd rage.
Whatever,
you know who we're talking about. Ruby Rose.
Okay, was driven off Twitter. Okay, and so that's also part of it is just like everyone needs to like chill out about this because I remember it popped up in my Facebook memories, guys, that I think 3 years ago today people were and everyone was like, "Ah!" And I was like, everyone needs to chill out because he might be good. And oh my god, he was good, guys.
Well, anyways.
You didn't even see the freaking movie, so you shut up.
I saw the first one. He was.
And she didn't even see the damn movie.
Listen. I didn't see. I saw Batman versus Superman. I did not see Justice League. I saw the first time he was Batman. I'm not as crazy. I mean, he's okay, but that's a different issue. But I didn't like. I watched it and then I was like, nah, I'm still okay. But like the same thing with and this also ties in for like the Doctor Who thing of this Doctor, our 13th Doctor is a lady. Oh no.
But see, now everyone's gonna be like, oh, you're just an SJW and you like her because she's a lady and you're a lady.
I've already gotten that. I've legit already gotten that, and it's so frustrating because guys, everybody hated the idea of
I agree.
Let's go. We're gonna flip over to Jeffro W says I like the new Spider-Man. They coming out with the black teenager playing as Spider-Boy.
Agreed.
I love it.
It was great. I saw the preview for it and I was 100% on board. All the different Spider-Mans in the universe where they do all those different kids, like freaking great. It looked so different and so like such a new take on something. I'm sorry, I'm tired of the same old, same old. I don't want it to stay the same. I would like things to evolve.
Because guess what? You can still go back and read those other comics.
Yes, you can.
Guess what I do when I'm like, oh, I get so.
You'll always have.
Or
them.
just here's an example of me being nerd ragey. So the Star Wars. Guess what? I just don't watch them. And I just go back and I watch the originals, and I'm like, yay, the originals.
To like redo, whichever one.
Oh yeah, The Last Jedi. Again, same thing.
Yes.
There was parts of it I didn't like.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm just not gonna watch it again.
Honestly, I did not. It was not that big of a deal. I watched it. I was like, I was okay with that. Now, like, am I gonna like shit on the whole entire thing because of that? No. Am I gonna sit there and call for people to be run off of social media like because of it? No. Like, am I going to call for people to be fired so that I can start a Kickstarter to rewrite the freaking screenplay the way it should be done? No. Because you know what? You can already do that.
There's fan fiction sites. Go
to fan fiction.
Go.
Do your thing.
Go for it. Go to town.
There's people will read it. It's fine.
People will read it, and you could probably make money off of it too. Yeah. Just go.
Yeah.
I'm
tired
of
alone. It's like, I'm sorry I was born a woman. Forgive me. I'm so
sorry. I have lady parts and I'm a nerd.
Like,
apologies.
How dare I like comics?
Well, and it's so interesting question. Tassie Frost on YouTube just commented with the dark side of fandom. Now, I still consider that fandom.
It's
Here's
toxic.
what,
I mean,
this is a
it's very
total toxic issue where I don't feel like you are a fan of something when you come out to attack it. At that point, I don't even know what you would call it.
I don't know either.
A rage watching or rage reading or whatever it might be, because like I understand a darker side. Like when I hear dark side of fandom, I think of like, you know, liking the villain more than the superhero. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like that's still a part of the fandom versus what we're talking about feels like an aggressive affront to what the IP even is.
Yes.
Like you're talking about these people that love superheroes, and yet what they're promoting is nothing but hate and just bile and just horrible things. That it just doesn't even cue into what superheroes and comic books are all about.
And I do think, like, George is right, and so is Eric. Both of them are right. So Eric's like, he says when it comes to things, of actors who get a certain role and he's not crazy about it, depending on who it is, he doesn't lose sleep over it. We don't need to harass the people.
That's the difference. I'm just
Exactly.
like, oh, I'm not, that's not who I would picture.
No.
I'm still going to watch it.
And I do think that, yes, like, nerd entertainment has gotten to, like, this level of, like, where it is really, honestly, the biggest franchises now in movies are superhero films. So, yes, it's opened up to a lot more people, which I think now is part of the problem.
I was just about to say it.
Because
so now we're getting into a very deep issue.
It's almost like hipster nerds where they're like, I was here first. Oh my God, I was here back when nobody liked it.
Well, here's the weird thing of, okay, so this is what's interesting about that specific subject, because we've often talked about like where this toxic nerd or toxic fandom comes from. And for me growing up, I was beaten up for liking the things that I like. Like I was made fun. Like a lot of nerds. That's most of us when we were coming up, our generation. And now,
which by the way, if you see pictures of us when we were children, not like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Froze,
oh my God.
with glasses.
I swear to
looking,
flipping God, if one more of you tells one of us that we don't look like nerds, I'm gonna smack you in your face. Because I don't care what I look like. I know who I am and was. And that's it. I had the braces, the headgear, the inhaler, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And these same people that would make fun of us or beat us up for loving these things are now walking around with a t-shirt and being like, yeah, so it kind of makes sense that the nerd culture is becoming toxic because bullies got involved.
For me, I'm kind of glad because now I'm like, all right, it's socially acceptable now to like these things, so hooray!
I know,
so no more kids should be getting beaten up because it's okay to like this stuff now.
But that's a weird thing. That's the balance. You're like, well, this is great because everybody accept like
I
love the hipster movement
angry.
because like all the weird shit that I wear is suddenly cool and like all that kind of stuff. And now that like it's very popular to be into comics and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm like a cool kid now. That's great.
I don't even consider it being cool
But-
still. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah.
I still feel like I'm part of it. It's like the entertainment industry, the comics
what
industry,
hair?
the redheaded stepchild. We are. Like, comics is still, guys, so far off to the side of regular entertainment. Like, I don't understand. Like, even if you go see the movies,
crazy. There's no money in it. We keep seeing. So on our feed, we see these Kickstarters for these incredible creators that created everything that we love that don't even have health insurance.
Yep.
Like they're so broke, even though they created like the things that are now in the biggest like blockbuster movies, they are destitute. Like it's crazy. And to go back to like the balance of like, oh, it's great that it's kind of more mainstream to love these nerdy things because like I want to be a part of this world because it's such a beautiful world we've been a part of since we were kids. But you guys are ruining it.
Oh God,
right? Like, and the same thing with having movies and TV shows being like, oh, nerds spend money and they like this shit. Like, we get the juxtaposition of like, well, we're getting more stuff, but some of it's garbage.
Also, can I just say, when I was younger and I was like dating, like I like in high school, I had like a lot of the nerds ask me out. Like it was like to the prom and stuff like that, and it was. My mom, who was always, I was like, oh my God, why are it always the nerds that are asking me out? Like, I'm so bummed. Like, I don't get, like, the football players or anybody that's, like, awesome. I just get the nerds. And my mom was like, hey, you know what, those nerds, man, they're gonna have great jobs when they're older, and they're gonna be amazing. So I think you should pay attention now while you can.
That's interesting. I kind of had the opposite, where like I was really weird, guys, in high school. In this stream, who remembers me in high school, you know what I'm talking about. I was weird. I was like quiet. I just stayed and did my own little thing, and so I only dated nerds. And then when I left high school, I hid aggressively that as much as I could because I couldn't go on the dating scene. Like I couldn't. Like there was nobody that would date a weird nerd. No. Like I got the braces off. I grew out the hair and I wore contacts, and I like only if you came in like saw my room with my Dragon Ball Z posters and my
Guys,
other
there
like
was
BS.
something that we used to call, my friend and I, who used to go to conventions back when I first started working in the industry, we like never really considered ourselves like really hot or anything like that. And this is like back in when we were in our 20s, okay? And we used to call
like
it
5 years
nerd
ago,
hot.
guys.
Yeah, sure. So we used to call it nerd hot. And so we would love going to conventions because, like, honestly, way
Like yeah,
talking the 90s,
I
way
mean,
back then,
even 10,
you
15 years
you could
ago.
have your pick of dudes at a comic book convention because there were no girls there, like none. And I was actually working in the industry. So it was like one of those things where we would go to those conventions and she'd be like, we're like Angelina Jolie. And it like made us feel amazing and great. It was like we'd finally found our people.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like,
Yes.
yeah. And now to be like told that we're going to get kicked out of it simply because like, I don't know, we're women. Like, I'm sorry, but I've worked hard for my career.
We took so many steps ahead.
Like, what the hell?
And then all of a sudden now, because like, as you know, with GeekChic, we do a lot of programming and panels for a lot of different conventions. We actually have a problem getting women to shows because they're terrified.
Yes.
They are terrified of, like, we've had to have security ready for, there was that panel about trans in comics.
Yes.
We had to have security at this panel because this poor woman was getting so many threats online that we had to have security ready at a convention. Mm-hmm. Like, how is this our world? We've been chatting for so long. Let me catch up on some of.
Oh yeah, we should probably wrap this up anyway.
Yeah. Oh god, we are going over, but we knew we would because this is a very.
We feel very passionately about this topic, and we've avoided it for a long time.
We have, because I mean we've talked about it just you and I, like off screen, but we haven't talked with you guys about it. So I just want to make sure that I read the comics, and so we really address everything you've been talking about. Okay, so George kind of brought up a point earlier that we barely touched upon, but he said, do you think that it's because nerd culture is now the dominant entertainment form and it's a power that corrupts kind of thing? Totally. Especially in this new, because let's also not forget the fact that when we were first coming up, there wasn't the internet. There wasn't this worldwide way of connecting with people, which sounds like a good thing until it becomes very negative. And that's the thing that the internet has created, is like, oh, it's great because everybody has a voice. Oh God, everybody has a voice. So like those toxic negative people do. Mm-hmm. And then comics. Yeah, RCA Film says my comics great again. And then I'm just like sorry,
professing love for Ruth Ann on this.
Well, no, just nerd girls. Yeah, we're all nerd girls here. She actually does wear glasses as well. She can handle contacts more than I can. I can't. I love her glasses. She won't wear them. Hey, Chris, wear your glasses on Nerd Rage next week. I'm gonna put it out there. Boop, 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 boop. But yeah.
So let's like something lovely.
Oh, I have positive stuff to talk about. Okay. I have a rave that's gonna surprise all of you.
All right.
Okay, so for those who are new to our Nerd Rage, we like to end with a rave. Woo! And so one DC TV show that I've been avoiding because all of the trailers look out of control, which is Legends of Tomorrow. And I've been avoiding it, and like just I think I might have watched the first episode. I was like, I don't even think I made it through. I was like, I can't. I just don't. No time for this. A friend of mine suggested the way to look at it because he loves it. He was like, look at it like it's Doctor Who. Like, watch it like it's Doctor Who, because that's what it basically is wacky time travel and blah, 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 timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. Love it. I love it. Like, it is so crazy if you just, like, kind of change your perspective on it of how, because, like, I watch such weird, crazy shit. Like, and it was great having you watch My Hero Academia and, like, because I was like, why is it that, like, some people are anime nerds and some people aren't? And you keyed into it because it's just, anime is so dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
It's dramatic. And that's the thing.
A person who gets drama out of my life, I don't bring it in.
But what's funny is that I don't, so that's why I don't like I don't like drama TV shows, because I'm like, oh, it's too dramatic. And then I'm like, I watch anime that's so, like, out of control, like...
Legends of Tomorrow, I feel like, though, was, I don't know. I watched, like, one season of it, and
it's
I was like...
very, you know what it is? It's very...
Captain Cold?
It's so much. It's so much. But if you watch it in the vein of, like... classic Doctor Who, or even like
but
David
Tennant.
Watch
Doctor Who?
Exactly. So I know it's like I'm a huge fan of even like the cheesy stuff.
Yep.
So, but that's my rave for the week is that I really like the show. So now I'm kind of like working through it, and it's a really fun and it's really cheesy. But if you accept like, oh, I'm gonna watch a super cheesy time travel show with stupid jokes and romances that make no sense, I'm on board. There is still some of the terrible, terrible CW writing, especially when it comes to the female characters, but it's still pretty great.
But I also think that Cloak and Dagger is good. So if you guys watch Cloak and Dagger,
I need to catch up on that one.
I think it's gonna. It was a slow burn, and I'm into it. So,
so just gonna nerd on you real hard, real quick. Captain Cold does not turn gay. It is an alternate universe that he is gay and marries his partner.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Anyways,
Yes.
just throw that nerd around. But guys, thank you for
so
joining
much.
us for this very aggressive rage of our weekend rager. Hopefully you'll join us for next week. It'll be a little brighter. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to be in Dragon Con.
You'll be in Dragon Con.
So we might have to do a pre-recorded thing. We'll figure it out. Kind of what you guys want us to talk about next week, or even, you know, throughout the week. Post on our Facebook, or comment on our YouTube. Tweet at us what you want us to talk about throughout the week. If there's something you're like, oh my gosh, this, like, just tweet it at us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're all over the internet. Just grab us anywhere, because we love connecting with you guys and talking about nerd stuff, because we're very passionate, obviously.
So all right. We'll catch you guys next week then, or another time.
Yep. On the flip side. See you later. Bye.
Bye.